Good morning, Geauga County, Lake County, Northeastern Ohio. You are listening to the Voice of Geauga, where every Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., you'll be listening to um, Jonathan Broadbent, myself, some combination. This morning we've got Frank Kavanaugh, um, famous I don't know what you call yourself. Farmer, rock star farmer, century, history guy, Renaissance man, out of Burton, Ohio, and all parts there in that region. And so, welcome this morning, Frank Kavanaugh. And so, we're going to be cranking up the program today. If you want to be a part of this program, 440-946-9468. You can also email us at voiceofgeauga@gmail.com. I've gotten a number of emails recently. Our chat group on Rumble is already cranked up this morning. I saw our first good morning. Good morning, Durfee. And Facebook and YouTube. We're live streaming to those. You want to listen in on Monday? We're going to have, we had a power outage the other day, so we couldn't have on our pinball guy out of Girard, Ohio. He's going to be with us on Monday morning, and we're going to be talking about the largest pinball arcade in Ohio. Ohio's got some great stuff. Now we have a pinball arcade, and it's got old pinball machines. It's phenomenal. And he's going to be on talking about his pinball arcade and a lot of different stuff. But we're going to be having, I'm not sure what exactly we're going to be talking about with Frank this morning, but let me start with this. I want to reach out to those folks that are part of Ohioans for Responsible Government because I want to let you know, and you're probably listening, I'm guessing, and people in Geauga County, Lake County wouldn't have gotten this yet, but people in Geauga County may have been getting some political material from this Ohioans for Responsible Government, and they're really making themselves look like fools. And thank you for that. I mean, the material you send out is first of all ridiculous, and it's a bunch of lies. So people in Geauga County, of course, I don't have to tell people from Geauga County this because the minute you see these cards, they're so over the top ridiculous. I don't know why they're spending money, but I hope they continue to spend a lot of money and waste it on these ridiculous, over the top lies. I will say this: people that are part of that organization are cowards. They're unethical, immoral, and I feel bad for you. I think you really need to start looking for. You need to go to church and ask for forgiveness and to be saved because your heart is ill. Your heart is ill. The political world is, it's robust and it can be hard, and you should be, there should be some, lively debates between candidates. But when you have outside groups that do nothing but ridiculous attacks and make themselves look foolish, that's sad that we go there. But some people, that's what they do. They're just disgusting human beings who can't, have a lively, realistic debate. They have to go into the ditch and into the sewer. And I feel bad for you, really, for the folks that are involved with that. You must really feel bad about yourself at night, and I'll pray for you because these cards that people in Geauga County are getting are so silly and ridiculous. And you work hard at it. I got it. And you're working really hard to make yourself look like fools. But all that said, I had to say that because I saw some cards yesterday, and I personally I laugh at them. I was the victim of one of those cards, and people called me a liberal, which is the dumbest thing that anybody. I'm to the right of Attila the Hun. I'm not sure if that's liberal or not. I'm an admitted conservative. I believe in God. I believe in this country. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in two genders. All that whole list of things. I don't think you would throw me in the camp of a liberal. But I had to get that out of my system, Jonathan. You have to forgive me. And I do want to make sure a couple of things. First of all, we want to make sure that everybody listening, if you happen to be a political person and you want to be on this program, I invite you Jonathan, I've invited you personally a number of times. Dave Joyce, you are welcome on this program. Fact is, I'm going to reach out and fill out the media form today and invite you on this program. We'd love to have all sides of any debate, discussion, whatever. Jonathan and I are actually pretty nice people. I think we've not really chastised anybody or made anybody look like fools when they come on our program. Of course, well, I won't go there. Depending on who you get on the program, that might be easy to do. But I also want to recognize Red EFT. With the big winds we've had recently, I've had some trees and stuff fall down in my yard, and I'm not cutting those up myself because Red EFT is so busy. But he is a phenomenal arborist, Andrew Blasky, and you can reach out to him at 440-850-4968. You can text him and you can call him and he will come out. And if you don't own a chainsaw or you just don't want to do the work, call Andrew. He will take care of your tree problems and bushes and other things. So we also want to recognize the VFW out of Chardon, Middlefield, American Legion. They're a supporter of this program, and as a veteran, I thank my brothers for helping this program to exist. And I'm encouraging everybody listening, if you want this, if you like this program, help to support it. It costs us. We actually pay per hour for this program to be on, so we can give a different voice. We can, share the other side because oftentimes you only hear one side of a conversation. And Jonathan and I like to stimulate some interest, entertain you, and we often say you can going to be entertained, informed, and enlightened every Monday through Friday. And so, with all of that said, I think I've covered everything. Jonathan, I'll flip it to you, and then you can bring Frank into the conversation, and let's get going.
All right, so I'm going to speak very quickly. I want to get the focus on Frank Kavanaugh. Delighted to have him back on again. It's appropriate that Frank Kavanaugh's joining us again on Voice of Geauga because only yesterday somebody won the Village Viking Fest gift basket, which is really awesome. Congratulations again, Diana, who won the Village Viking Fest giveaway gift basket. It's Frank Kavanaugh that brought Village Viking Fest to our attention. I didn't know about Village Viking Fest before Frank came on. I'm delighted to learn more every time Frank Kavanaugh comes back on for us. I want to clarify something because Skip brought it up just for the clarification of our listening audience. There's an organization that Skip referenced called Ohioans for Responsible Government. I'm looking at a postcard right now. They have been mailing postcards into Geauga County from outside of Geauga County using what appears to be a pool of dark money with political attack ads on the good guys in Geauga County, the people who are willing to stand in the fray and ask questions and challenge the corruption. So Skip happens to be one of those that's been targeted. I was targeted along with some other folks. We're doing some really interesting research into that organization and the people behind it and the people in Lake and Geauga County who they communicate with. So there's more to come on that. I just wanted to lend a little clarification around that reference back to Frank Kavanaugh. Frank, welcome back onto Voice of Geauga. Tell us what's new in your world.
90% of success is just showing up.
Yep.
So you guys showing up every morning and just talking is obviously bothering a lot of people. So you guys should be happy that you're getting these postcards because you've made it. It's like
I feel like Trump,
Yeah, it's like when you're in the music business and like you put out a record, it gets very popular, and then someone sues you and says you stole their song and you never even met this person. It's like you get freaked out, but then someone will come to you and be like, dude, you made it. That's a sign that you made it. So
Yeah.
people spending money to stop your voice means you made it. So there's no I'm just firmly in the positive camp where, if a tree falls down, I got firewood next year. That look at it like that. So but let's get back to like what's going on here in Geauga County. The political storms are just like the real storms.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got actually the Village Viking Fest is on May 1st at the Burton Fairgrounds up there, and it's at 6 p.m. we're starting with a drum circle, and then it's going to go all weekend long. So,
And who's responsible for that, Frank? Tell me who created that and who's involved with it. This sounds like a really fun and exciting thing to go to.
My friend Jenny Breed Heist is there's 4 people that actually founded it, but Jenny's the person who's my contact, and I actually what's great about Geauga County is people that get involved in Geauga County, whether you're on the left or the right, everybody knows each other, and I met her through doing something else, and then she's like, "Hey, I didn't even know that there was a Viking Fest until she brought it up to me." Um, she's someone that is from the area that they just understand how beautiful and historic Burton is with both Century Village and the fairgrounds. They had the Viking Fest before at Century Village. They're having it now at the fairgrounds. So she's a really good person, and what she's done is created a community of it's kind of the alternatives is what the Viking Village Fest is.
Hey, Frank, unfortunately, I need to step in because we've got a break coming up.
Sure.
Remember, everybody can join this conversation and engage with Voice of Geauga and Frank Kavanaugh online or dialing in 440-946-9468. We'll come back on the other side of the break with more from Frank Kavanaugh.
Mics are off. Mics are off.
All right. So now, if you're still continuing to hear us, that means that you are tuned in online, watching our live stream podcast on Rumble, Facebook, or YouTube. Welcome, audience. You are actually getting now a little behind the scenes, behind the curtains glimpse into what takes place during our radio station breaks. So we're on a commercial break right now. Frank, is there anything you want to make sure to cover during today's conversation?
I want to talk about what's happening at the museum on April 16th. We're having Dan Rager, who's he's a Geauga County resident. I'll talk about it when we go back.
Okay.
Yeah. That's go ahead.
No, I like to ask that question because I like to sometimes things can throw us a little curveball. We might get a phone call or somebody posting and commenting on something else. I want to make sure to get to the things that are important to you.
I also would like to talk about the Voice of Geauga newspaper and when the next one's gonna come out, and that article that I wrote.
You will see in the paper this week.
Okay.
So
cool.
Yeah,
it's on its way. It was dropped yesterday at the post office. It'll be out starting today.
Okay, so if you guys don't give me credit for this is strike number 2.
I hope we caught that episode.
I don't care, dude.
I felt bad. I was like, wait. I was looking through, and it was like a couple times because it's very exciting when that first paper came up. I'm looking through, I'm reading the articles. I'd seen them and read them before, but then all of a sudden my eye caught the bottom, and I was like, wait a minute. Where is the attribute? So I did. I texted and called you, and then I announced on air for everybody out there. I may have done it twice. Like, just make sure everybody knows Frank Kavanaugh is the man behind that.
Oh no, dude!
Perfect article.
Check it out. What's funny though, which is kind of cool, is this is going to be my first. This article is going to be my first published article.
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
My daughter going to Loyola. She's going to have her first article published at the same time this week.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, she's actually at where that student got murdered up there in Chicago. It was one of her classmates.
Oh man.
Yeah.
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Too close to home now.
Welcome back to Voice of Geauga with Skip Claypool, myself, Jonathan Broadbent, and we have returning guest Frank Kavanaugh. Voice of Geauga broadcasts on WINT radio. That's 101.5 FM, 1330 AM. Remember, if you have any difficulty catching us, or if you travel and are outside of the Northeast Ohio area, you can catch Voice of Geauga live, streamed audio only, through the radio station WINTradio.com or voiceofgeauga.com. There's an audio stream. Frank, before we were interrupted by the commercial break, you were making a comment. Do you want to pick up where we left off?
Well, I want to make sure that everyone, if you're not doing anything first weekend in May, that you make it out to the Village Viking Fest at Geauga County Fairgrounds. It's going on all weekend. I also want everyone to let everybody know that coming up on April 16th at Century Village Museum, part of the America 250 series, Dr. Dan Rager is going to be giving a talk at 6 p.m. on Thursday, and it's a free talk about the interurbans in Geauga County, and that one of the reasons that Geauga County is so vibrant and agricultural so strong here is because of the two interurbans that came through Geauga County. And actually, if you drive up 44 from 422, and you were at the right by Punderson, State Park there was two interurbans that were about 1.5 miles to 2 miles apart. And that South Newberry area on 44, that was famous worldwide for cheese production that was happening in Geauga County. It was right when the Ohio and Erie Canal and the Erie Canal was going on. So Dr. Rader is going to give a historical talk on that. I also wanted to talk about your guys' new newspaper and an article that I just wrote for it called "I've Got a Dirty Secret to Tell You." And the secret is about dirt and how right now it's springtime. We just had a bunch of storms. You look outside, it's crazy out there. It's like it doesn't look good in the spring when all the snow melts. And so it's overwhelming and it's depressing and you don't want to go out and do it. So you turn around and go back inside and don't do it. But if you actually go outside and get your hands dirty in the dirt, there's a bacteria that's in the dirt called I'm gonna destroy this Mycobacterium vaccae. That when you get the dirt into your hands, or if you're like throwing a shovel of dirt and you would breathe it, anytime it gets ingested into the human body, it interacts and has a chemical reaction where your body produces serotonin and you feel good. People that have green thumbs, it's like they're actually addicted to going out and getting in the dirt because it's like taking a Prozac or something. You know, everybody I think is addicted to something, and the bad addictions are what get all the attention. If you're addicted to gardening, that's such a great thing. And here's like scientific proof that, yeah, it actually makes you feel good. It's like when people go to the gym every day, people are like, why does that guy go to the gym every day? Because his body's producing a chemical reaction after he works out where he feels good. So I think now that it's in the springtime and everything's coming alive, that I wanted to write an article that just kind of got people outside. And you don't have to take a whole day to go outside. If you go outside for 7 to 15 minutes, clean up a little area, clean up your back porch, clean up your backyard a little bit, go inside, wash your hands, you're going to have that reaction in your body. You're also going to go from inside your house outside, whether it's warm or cold, it's going to change your mood. And so now is the time of change in the seasons, in the world, politically, and everybody should be involved with it. So I really thank you guys for starting this newspaper because it gives us a chance to talk about Geauga County, and it also gives us a chance to understand that we're not one-sided, we're not one-faceted. When you guys started the show, you were saying it's hard to describe who I am, and I want to tell a story that someone told me years ago about how all of us are diamonds, and when we are born, we're basically a diamond that comes out of the ground. And a diamond that comes out of the ground is dirty, it's irregular, it doesn't look good. But in order for that diamond to be refined, it has to be struck. and the striking creates a face on it and it shines. And if it's only struck once, it only has one face. You turn it, you strike it again, it causes trauma to the diamond, it creates another face. As many times as you can turn your diamond and strike a new face on it, that's as many facets as you have, and you are now a diamond that shines. So it's like the world has made us become specialists. Where really, historically, people did all kinds of stuff. You know, they had to do it in order to survive. So it's it's history and human nature are intertwined in each other. And if you're depressed, look into history what they did back in the day, and they had to get up and do chores. Those chores actually made them feel better physically, physiologically, and mentally. So I don't know. I'm off on a total tangent here now.
No, dude, I'm really, I'm loving it. So there's a great comment from Dorothy. Gardening is also great for getting sun. Gets that vitamin D going. So there are just so many positives to just getting outside, getting some fresh air, getting exposure to sun. Dirt, I didn't know anything about that bacteria that's healthy for you, but just connected to that, my wife and I have had years of conversation about the benefit of walking barefoot. I grew up half in Florida, where and as a kid, I can't remember the very few, very infrequently any of us wore shoes. So we were just running around, you know, in the beach in Florida, barefoot. And it's my understanding from lots of reading articles. And by the way, Geauga residents, there's that you're getting a sneak peek that a sneak peek at the newspaper article. You don't forget to watch your mailbox for Voice of Geauga newspaper. We heard from Skip during the break that just dropped, so it's on its way to you, ladies and gentlemen of Geauga County. Watch for that paper, and you can read the full article that Frank Kavanaugh is referencing here. But personally, I'm right there with you, Frank. We, especially in Geauga County, look outside. Look how beautiful it is where we live. Get out there. I say dig in the dirt. And Frank, I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. If it weren't for the major plaguing issues, the corruption, the waste, fraud, and abuse, the problems in our education system, I don't think that I would be here, and I wouldn't have the headset on and be in front of a microphone. I'd be out in the garden. I would love to be gardening and get to the point where I can compete with you, getting some vegetables into the county fair once a year and see if I can win some awards like you have.
There's no competition though, man. We're partners. You know, I'll get you the entry form so that you can enter. I want as many people to get in it as possible. You know, it's like the political story. It's like what we just had yesterday or 2 days ago, where the trees came down. Yeah. So if the trees didn't come down, I wouldn't have to have muck boots and a 4-wheel drive and a chainsaw. And I don't want to deal with this, but because I have dealt with this, I feel better. And now my yard is cleaned up, and the next time it happens, I'm ready to go lickety split, which is how we should be. You know, right. I think that like it's like calisthenics kind of for societal health, to be involved in politics and to get into political debates and to have, you know, people not agreeing, but at the end, it's the beauty of the American system is that we can fight like dogs, but at the end of the day, we're all Americans. We're still in it together. And when a tree comes down across my driveway and you're one side and I'm the other side, we both meet in the middle with chainsaws. You know, we're not fighting, we're cleaning it all up. So
that's a really good analogy. We're coming up on another break. We've got about a minute here. I wanted to pause just to make sure that everybody's got the dates. Get your pen out or text yourself those dates. Starting on May 1st at 6 p.m., we've got Village Viking Fest. And on April 16th at 6 p.m., we've got Dr. Dennis Rager.
6:30.
6:30 on the 16th. 6:30 on the 16th, we've got Dennis Rager as part of the Celebration 250. So Remember, you can find us on Voice of Geauga on Rumble, Facebook, and YouTube to join the conversation. If you are not an early riser, I don't blame you. Stay in bed if you can. You can catch Voice of Geauga on replay on platforms like Rumble, Facebook, and YouTube. And don't forget the website, voiceofgeauga.com. And if you want to contact us with any content or suggestions, if you have questions, if you have a guest that you'd like us to invite on, email voiceofgeauga@gmail.com and dial anytime 440-946-9468. We'll come back with more on the other side of the break.
Mics are off. Mics are off.
All right. So, Frank, we've got that. There's a 10-second window, both going into and coming out of the break. We want to try and stay quiet, make sure that none of it goes out over the air. If we do inadvertently speak, there's a possibility that it goes out over a commercial, and that upsets some people that pay for those commercials.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Speaking of which, if you are listening on Rumble, Facebook, or YouTube, if you know area businesses, just look at all of the great airtime and publicity places like Red EFT are getting. Red EFT has been getting the spotlight for days, from Skip talking about the great experiences he's been having with Red EFT. We've got Village Viking Fest has been in the spotlight because they took the time to put together a gift basket to give away. If you know of area businesses that would benefit from that, there are lots of opportunities here. We've got the podcast side. You can see, if you're watching the podcast, you can see the ad space on Rumble, Facebook, and YouTube. It will go out on all three. Over the air, Skip and I can announce those. There's also commercial spots on WINT. And during the break, if you're not listening on a podcast, if you listen over the radio, you'll hear commercials, including one that I put together. It's one of my commercials that airs on WINT. All of this goes together, and of course, the newspaper. Don't forget, there's great newspaper advertising opportunity. And you won't find anything more economical. It goes to more doors and gets in front of more people with more attention, especially right now. There's so much hype, there's so much excitement around Voice of Geauga. With the podcast, the radio show, and that newspaper, I was telling Skip before this show started, I was at a meeting yesterday with my wife and ventured into a conversation with a woman there that was very excited about this new paper that's hitting Geauga County, Voice of Geauga. And I just had to sort of smile and hang back. And I think toward the end of the conversation, Tip pointed out that I'm actually involved in Voice of Geauga. This woman didn't even know it. She just brought it up to talk about how people get their news and her excitement about this new paper. You or area businesses or people that you know can be part of this. We're looking for more to give them the same opportunity and the same wonderful treatment that we're giving to Red EFT and places like it.
So I'll have to check, by the way, Frank. I'm not sure if your article made it into this paper. I had a whole bunch of articles that came in, and so we were making decisions on what would go in. But it will go in the next issue. Although I just can't remember if it made into this issue or not. We were moving real fast getting articles in there. So now I'm thinking about it because I remember reading it and I thought, well, this is a pretty cool article. I just don't know if it made it into this issue, but it will go in shortly. If not,
okay. Well, I hope that it did. But I'll tell you, in a little different context, and Frank, I like that analogy.
30 seconds. 30
the
seconds.
Storm analogy, the political storm and the weather storm. There's a local political campaign where there are two great people that both happen to be friends of mine, and I think that that's a wonderful opportunity. That's a wonderful position to be in, to have so many good people. The fact that we're getting a lot of entrants and article submissions is really good. I'm excited about that. I hope that
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
welcome back to Voice of Geauga with Skip Claypool, myself, Jonathan Broadbent, and we have returning guest Frank Kavanaugh. There's some really good conversation going on in the Rumble chat. We've got Gardens of CH, which is appropriate, talking about agriculture and gardening and the health benefits of just getting out, rolling up your sleeves, and getting into the garden. So Gardens of CH says that gardening is a year-round cycle. Each season has its different tasks to take care of. Gardening, mentally and physically healing. Thank you, Frank, for the chemistry lesson. That's a pretty cool comment. We learned something today. I always try to learn something each and every day.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, go for it.
The Farmer Boy book, I keep going back to that. They were getting ready. They were gardening in the winter. You know, they were doing stuff inside to get ready, and then in the fall they were getting everything ready to do the stuff in the winter inside. So it's almost like modern convenience and progress have not been good for humanity in a lot of ways because we've lost that knowledge. So that's what's great about people being. When I was on the Republican Central Committee, I think 12 years ago is when I got elected. And
Okay.
the political climate in Geauga County was completely different. And I never thought I would see the amount of engagement that is happening now. Whether they're on my side or not, I do not care because I change as a person and I mature. So I'm not correct all the time. My thoughts might change. And to see all these people involved where before, the number one thing I heard about politics was politics is boring. Politics is no longer boring. What has happened is the status quo or the elites or whatever you want to call them in all of our media, in our sports, in everything, they've tried to shove this globalist idea down our throat where we could no longer go anywhere for entertainment or escape and not be reminded that we had to be a political thought or a political way or a certain way. What they did inadvertently is they turned politics into the new spectator and participation sport, where now people are following, whether you're on the left or the right, they're following Trump every single day. You know, the people that love Trump are exactly like the people that hate Trump in a lot of ways because they're consumed by Trump. And I like that because they're now paying attention to politics where they didn't pay attention before. And that's the most important thing. Like I said before, 90% of success is just showing up. Yep. And so showing up in the garden, showing up in politics, showing up in whatever you do. I'm so happy at the state of the world, even though it's crazy, just because humanity has been awakened and humanity is now involved again. So it's an awesome time.
It is. Bringing it back to rock and roll and punk rock. I love the current expression that conservative is the new punk rock. What's up, Skip?
I will disagree with Frank a little bit. Those of us who support Trump, and I do, are not obsessed with Trump. I watch the news and I hear what's going on, and I can agree, and sometimes I disagree with Trump actually, but the left is obsessed. When you go out to the No Kings rally, these people are obsessed. I wanted to use a different term, but their view of the world is completely distorted. Now, maybe that's just a small segment. I play pickleball as much as I can, and the crowd is ideologically mixed. And sometimes we try to stay away from controversial things because we're friends and we want to play pickleball and focus on that obsession versus anything else. But same thing with gardening. I have friends that are in gardening. I wish I was a more successful gardener. I grew up on a farm. My parents and grandparents all farmed. We grew potatoes and strawberries and vegetables and corn and all that kind of stuff. But I just didn't pick up that gene apparently because everything I raised kind of falls down. My wife and I tried to grow garlic over the winter, and something came in and dug it all up. And so now we got to figure out what the heck, we invested
They
all
were
that time.
hungry. They ate it.
Yeah, we lost all our garlic. Same thing with lettuce. I tried to grow winter lettuce, and but for some reason, the animals get to it before I can get to it. And so, but back to the point, some people are really obsessed in this political world. It's like these goofballs that send out these cards. Oh my goodness, their hearts are, I feel bad for them because their hearts are so filled with um, anger and whatever it happens to be. They can't have a rational, reasonable conversation. Jonathan and I can talk to anybody and have a conversation. And I have friends I disagree with, and then after the disagreement, we go have a beer and we laugh about it. But there are people who just take it so personally. They reject family members and they reject friends. Oh my goodness, those people need to really seriously. You need to evaluate your lives,
They
and
need to get out and do some gardening.
I think
They
they
do, and
do.
we've all been victims of that. I mean, what we witnessed through 2019, 2020, COVID, all that, the mass cancellations of people where their jobs were taken away. You know that is historical, and there needs amends needs to be made. It needs to be made. We are I I find it very easy to get negative, and God gives us free will to either be positive or negative. And so, since a young man, I've always like found myself wanting to go to the negative. I pushed myself to be positive on stuff. So that's why I'm looking at this whole situation. Where can I see the positive angle on it? And it is very scary how obsessed people on the left are and how they cancel people. But this is a crisis, and we should not let this crisis go to waste. And we can be Americans again and together again because we love. And what do you love? And that it depends on what we love together. We all love America. Maybe you hate America. Maybe you love gardening. We can talk about that. Maybe you love anime. Maybe you love the Cavs. Whatever. Now is our time to. I don't want to say turn the other cheek because they'll slap the other cheek, but we're not going to beat them by being them. We are only going to the only way that we're going to be successful is by being positive and surrounding ourselves with the armor of love. So,
I went to my grandson's pickleball first for or not pickleball for volleyball game last night in Mayfield. I've got a grandson who's a senior and he's in the volleyball team. I've not been to a volleyball game at a competitive level for a long, long time. They've changed the rules. Now you can make points on, both whether you're serving and not serving, which is interesting. That's not the way it was when I was growing up. But what I noticed, too, on topic here, is that entire crowd could have cared less about politics. My son's team, Mayfield, was down 2-15. The game goes to 25. And so we thought they lost that game. And many of us were saying, oh, just let it go. Rush the game, get to the next game so they can try it again. But no, those kids fought back from 2 to 15 to win the game. And it was so exciting. I have to say, it's probably one of the most exciting. You go to a soccer game and you fall asleep because they're so boring. But this volleyball game was exciting and fun to watch. They can hit the ball into the ceiling, bounce off all of the girders and all that kind of stuff, and
really,
and still
wow,
and still play the ball. It's actually a lot of fun, I gotta say. But
cool.
Mayfield ended up winning. But looking around that crowd, you wouldn't have known what anybody's politics was because they were just focused on one obsession, and that was their kids and playing that game. And it was a very fun thing, and the crowd was fun and had a good time cheering both sides. So that's what
And
we ought
that's
to be
love right
doing.
there.
That's what we ought to be
Yeah,
doing in society. We ought to be cheering this country. We should be cheering
exactly.
Geauga
Yes.
County. Geauga County is a phenomenal county. I specifically targeted Geauga County to come and want to live after we moved out of Warren, Ohio. And my wife and I had an option to live any place we wanted to in northeastern Ohio, and we chose to live here because of the attributes and the people.
Yeah. What you guys were doing last night was you were loving, whether you were on Mayfield side or the other side, you were there and you were enjoying life. And so that's what I really want all of us as Americans to get back to is no matter what you're doing, you should be enjoying what you're doing or don't do it. You know, that it's and the Sun Tzu, it's classic divide and conquer. And that's what I think has happened in America is that they have driven a wedge in between the people that really care on the left and the people that really care on the right. And then the people in the middle are like, we are sick of all of this. We don't want to have anything to do with it. And they come up with a third political, I don't want to say party, but, you know, meanwhile, we're all divided and people can take advantage of us and do what they want. So what the answer is, I don't know. The answer is loving being at your grandson's volleyball game and enjoying the moment you're in. You know, because it's when you, if you're tense and you're stressed off and stressed out and you're pissed off, you walk out into the world with a different vibration, and people can see that. Whether they realize it or not, they can feel it. You know, like a dog. You know when a dog likes you or not. You can see the hairs on the back of its on its back standing up. So if you make yourself positive, positivity is going to come to you. You know, it's hard. Life is hard enough. So
Yeah, I was looking for a comment. There was a chat that I was in. I'll see if I can find it and maybe post it online. But it has a lot to do. It was actually a comment made by a good friend of mine just early this morning, having to do with what you're talking about. If you create an environment in um, whatever, let's use politics. If you create an environment that is that appears off-putting, ugly, or controversial, then most people shy away from it. And when you shy away from it, you create a vacuum. And then in that vacuum, bad actors can work in the shadows and do really bad things. So for a long period of time, and I think in my book, it's a big part of this push toward political correctness. There's big carve outs in society, like huge things that you're not supposed to talk about. But those are important things to talk about. And if they're just done incrementally on small level on an ongoing, regular, small basis, then they're not shocking. If you talk about religion, politics, whatever, and it's part of conversation, everyday life. You're meeting up with people, drinking coffees and stuff, and just hashing these things through, then things don't snowball and blow up out of proportion and drive people into bat craziness. Um, but when you go years of avoiding things like politics, then you get to the point where people are just like they're pent up, they're wound up. We miss each other. We're completely at two different planes. I love Frank's analogy. Thank you for that, Frank. This whole just conduct yourself with love and compassion.
Hey, Jonathan, I think the timer is down, and we're getting a message from our control
The
room.
timer is down, ladies and gentlemen. We need to go to break. We'll continue on the other side of the break. You can get it wrong and still you think that it's all right.
Mics are off. Mics are off. I'll be giving you cues through the chat as far as when you got time to go. So I'll give you a 2-minute and a 30-second, okay?
I'll be watching for that. Thanks for letting me know. All right. Yeah, so it looks like we're having another tech issue with the timer. That's really strange. For a long time, for months, we had no issue. And then yesterday, this strange new issue surfaced. We'll have to get to the bottom of that. So if you are listening right now, you are hearing behind the scenes. We are on a commercial break on WINT radio. But one of the cool advantages to being a follower of Voice of Geauga on social media, and that means Rumble, YouTube, and Facebook. For now, we may expand onto other platforms like X and others. But if you're hearing us now,
30 seconds till we're back. 30 seconds.
If you're following us on social media, don't forget to like and share, bring others into the conversation. The more we get people informed, thank you for that, Skip. The more we get people
10
informed.
seconds. 10 seconds.
Welcome back to our final segment on Voice of Geauga. We have returning guest Frank Kavanaugh. Just before the break, it was discovered that we have a little technological issue with our timer. So I'm sorry to go so abruptly to break. Don't forget you can call in and join the conversation at 440-946-9468. I had to step in and very quickly take us to break. I want to once again encourage everybody to mark your calendar for April, May 1st. Village Viking Fest starts at 6 p.m. on the 1st, and
April 16th, Thursday, April 16th at 6:30 at Century Village Museum. Dr. Dan Rager is giving a talk on the interurban railroads in Geauga County, part of the America 250 series.
Yeah, I think Century ought to be a sponsor of this program. What do you think? Century
Well,
Village.
I'll have to bring it to the board and see what the board says.
You know, we're already giving you some free advertising. I think regular advertising would be a great thing for Geauga County. And by the way, I would be remiss if we didn't mention the largest sponsor that we have, and that is Jesus Christ, because today happens to be Good Friday and Sunday is Easter.
Amen.
And so, you know, we were talking about love and all that kind of stuff. Well, the King of Love was Jesus Christ, and we're going to be celebrating that tonight, and then on Sunday, and then we'll be having eating a lot of food, getting fat. But that actually comes down to part of the conversation we've been having. We've been doing the stinking thinking. Frank, you've not been a part of that unless you've been listening in. We've been doing a segment called Stinking Thinking. And so we got into a question about do people think that the new county building or the county court is ugly? And so a lot of people were weighing in yesterday. I have to go online and put an actual poll in so we can test the public on that. But that's the kind of thing we were talking about that creates angst. There's a whole group of people, I call them the cabal in downtown Chardon, who get their knickers in a bunch and maybe they won't understand that term. So you're gonna have to go get Webster's and kind of figure out what I just said. But so they get their panties all in a bunch about when we bring that up and we say, "Oh, that's ugly." Well, it's a conversation, for goodness sake. You know, we should be able to have rational conversations to drive good government. And the minute if you bring a topic up and you want to have a rational conversation about it, and the first thing that happens is you get attacked and vilified and so on and so forth, it stymies having a rational conversation. I think maybe that's the objective on the part of some, but Jonathan and I are not going to back off from that. We need good government, and when our elected officials, our congressmen or our senators or our local state representatives, if they're not doing a good job, we need to call them on that. This is a government by the people, for the people, and so we should be able to have. And the minute that the swamp pushes back or the elected officials push back, that is a sign that we don't have healthy government. And so we have to be able to have these rational conversations. And so that's why we're here. So, yeah, that's right.
We just have a few minutes left. Frank, what else is going on this summer? Do we have other things that you want to bring up, let people know?
So at Century Village, the third weekend in May, I don't know the dates right now. We're having the Civil War encampment again is happening. So that's that. And then we're having in September, we're having Preston has helped us out with this, Preston Superstores, on September 11th and 12th up there. We're having and Remax, the balloon lighting, where we have hot air balloons in the field that overlooks overlooks the valley out to Middlefield while the sun's going down. They light the balloons. It's really cool. Wow. So,
is there a website people can visit to find out more about this?
If you guys want to know more about what I'm talking about, go onto your Facebooks and look at Century Village Museum and Geauga County Historical Society, and also the Village Viking Festival, and that has all the information that you're going to need about those things. So
yeah. A lot of this is also linked via the Voice of Geauga Facebook page. If you go there, you'll find people, including Jenny Breed from Village Viking Fest, who does a fair amount of posting. You can follow those links through to those pages So a few searches on Facebook will bear some fruit here and get you to the place you need to go to find out what's happening in Geauga County. And that is a big part of the reason that we formed Voice of Geauga. Not only to develop and give we the people a voice, a platform to communicate, find, and talk about the news that's happening, but also sharing events and seasonal topics. What's the next big thing for agriculture, Frank? Or,
You know, I wanted to talk about what Skip was just talking about.
oh yeah, absolutely, by all means.
So you know, um, Jesus was crucified and died, and what did Jesus do? Jesus forgave the people that killed him. When what we just witnessed over the past 5 or 6 years politically, it was the political death of relationships, friendships, family relationships. And the only way that we can really be successful is if we forgive that. We forgive that debt. And we don't continue this cycle of insanity where one person is getting back to the next person. And we have, even if it takes 1,000 times, that we forgive that death. Because we are not that. We are not the hate. We are the love. That's that's the most important thing I think that there is about agriculture and about politics and about life right now is that if you have to understand that things in your garden will fail. They will fail. You will lose crops. You know this. So you can't cry over that. You can't stick on that because that will poison the rest of your soul. What you have to do is just constantly focus on the crops that make it. So
Ephesians 4:31. 2 minutes.
okay.
2 minutes, Jonathan.
Yep. Let's see, we're coming up on the conclusion of the show. Frank, I have a question I'm going to throw in and tying this back to gardening because things like gardening are healthy. They're good for you. You learn to grow foods. What would you say, Frank, to somebody who approached you and said, I've just moved into Geauga County from the city. I'm a city, lived in the city. Where do I go to learn about gardening? What's a starting point for somebody to begin learning about gardening?
First of all, talk to your neighbors because one of your neighbors is a gardener. Also, there's the Native Plant Association. I forgot to say this. The Native Plant Association of Ohio is now at Century Village, and they're going to be gardening there. So look on our Facebook. We'll have announcements about that. You can come to Century Village and be involved with gardening.
Hey, Frank, I want you guys to have a special program on, and I'll sponsor it. That is wild native plants that are edible. We know the dandelion is totally edible, from the flower to the stem to the leaves to the roots.
But we could do a whole show on edible plants.
It'd be great. Cattails, people don't know that are
coming
edible.
Up on the conclusion of the show. I am going to ballpark the exact cutoff here because our timer is unfortunately not working today.
30 seconds.
Thank everybody for joining in the conversation. Thank you again for coming back and joining us on Voice of Geauga. We wish everybody a terrific weekend. Take care. Get out.
Happy Easter.
Weather. Happy Easter, of course. And get outside at some point and find some peace and love, as Frank so wonderfully recommends.
Talk to my family.
Eat too much food.